resolutions, the bills, the motions, and all that concerns legislation in Akwa Ibom State. And of course, you know that we have several segments away from just talking. We have the news segment and the chat room segment. And right away, we shall go to the news room to feature the news. Stay tuned. Ibom State House of Assembly held its public hearing on the bill to establish Electricity Regulatory Board. The bill aims to revolutionize the power sector by maximizing electricity availability, fostering growth in power generation, and revamping power utilization. Stakeholders emphasize electricity's importance in socio-economic development and urbanization. They highlighted the need for policy reforms, regulatory measures, and investment. Even power plant companies' management shared progress despite challenges. Experts advocated for energy equity, and comprehensive approaches to address power sector challenges. The establishment of the Electricity Regulatory Board is seen as crucial for transforming the power sector and improving living standards in Akwa Ibom State. Away from that, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly summoned Health Commissioner others over deplorable condition in General Hospital Ona. The Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly has summoned the Commissioner for Health, Professor Augustine Moore, the Chairman of the Hospital's Management Board, and Chief Medical Superintendent, the General Hospital in Awa, Ona local government area, to address the alarming state of the hospital. This summons followed a matter of urgent public importance raised during plenary by Right Honorable Effiong Johnson, the representative for Umbo State Constituency. Johnson informed the Assembly that while the hospital is equipped with modern facilities, the overall environment is far from suitable, posing health risks to visitors. Johnson, who is the chief whip of the Assembly, expressed concerns over how the hospital management is utilizing its funds, highlighting the chief medical superintendent was absent during the visit.
Also speaking, Right Honorable Kufre Basiedidem, who represents E2 State Constituency, lamented that it is regrettable that despite the establishment of world-class facilities like the one in Awa, those responsible for managing them are not adequately prioritizing patients' care. On his part, the member representing Nsurubium, Right Honorable Otobong Bob, expressed disappointment regarding the inadequate management of essential facilities in the state. He emphasized that when those in leadership positions neglect their responsibilities, it reflects poorly on the government. He stated that the House of Assembly will not tolerate such behavior. There are people willing to put their lives on the line, so if those given responsibilities are not productive, then they should shift to make way for those who are ready.
The Speaker, Elder Odemarton, while issuing a summons for the Commissioner for Health, the Chairman of the Hospital Management Board, and the Hospital Chief Medical Director, spoke on the unfortunate reality that those entrusted with important tasks are failing in their duties. He emphasized that the Assembly would not stand idle by allowing the situation to deteriorate. And also, while today at the plenary, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly received a message from the governor and two petitions and no payment of salary for 30 months by Mr. Nsikan Sando Umana, and from a tenure of young compulsory retirement. And of course, that is all for the Assembly News this evening. Stay tuned for the program. Thank you.
Stanley, reaching you from Memories 96.5 FM. Welcome to the Charts Room, segment where we get to talk. Yes, and you know how we do it right here. We X-ray, we bring
analyze,
to the fore. We
break it down, dismember.
Yes, we try to expose what has gone down so far in
the Eighth Assembly, the Chamber of the House.
And yes, talking about today happened to be they had plenary today.
The plenary today.
Yes, and we'll be looking at issues arising, from today's plenary of the program. So, Julius.
You know.
Maybe before we go there, maybe we should introduce the guest.
Okay.
Let's welcome our guest.
He's a regular voice.
Yes, he's a regular voice, an analyst on legislative
and of course,
issues.
he's a correspondent of the State Assembly.
Definitely, he's none other than Mr. Endurance Bassi. It's always a pleasure to see you here.
It's a pleasure to see you once again, Mrs. Juliana and Mr. Julius Nsika. You are looking really good today. You're smiling. I don't know.
Maybe we'll find out the
yes.
when we get down from here. He needs to let us into the
Yes.
flow.
No issue. I'll tell you the date later.
Wow, I can't wait to please. Very importantly, fellow Kwaibumites, I want to seize this opportunity to say very big good evening, very warm good evening to you wherever you are listening from. Thank you for having me.
All right. That's good. It's good to have Endurance together. It's when seeing you all the time, smiling with a very fine dentition. I am all right.
So let's get to the business of the night.
All right, and if you are just joining us, you're listening to the Assembly, that program here on Memories 96.5 FM, always memorable, yes. And of course, before I even go into the today matter for plenary, I'll dive a bit away from there, then go backward to Monday, where we had the public hearing and the committee on the committee headed by Econo. A lawmaker, Asoko Nanado.
Okay, you mean the Committee on Public Utilities?
On Public Utilities, yes, which was really, it was a deliberation, a very an extensive deliberation on power resuscitation in Akwa Ibom State, where we had people talking about revolutionizing power sector. In Akwa Ibom State, we had people coming from all sectors of the power, coming from the CSO, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Power, people from Ibom Power Company, and all the stakeholders appear there to talk and deliberate. Of course, public hearing is constitutional. It is constitutional to, as part of the obligation of lawmakers, legislature, to also get sample opinions from the public and matters that are public importance and public interest. So let's hit the ball on the field, going hot. Let's get to know, because the bill aims to revamp the power sector of Akwa Ibom State, and let's have a review so far, Endurance, from that public hearing. What's a review? Your assessment?
It was such an interesting one. I think that bill was sponsored by a member that is representing the Senate of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. I'm talking about Honorable
Fredo Dobia.
As one from that sector, he's an engineer, so he understands the terminologies,
the parlance,
of that department, and that was the reason he saw the need. I recall when he first presented, when the bill
was first read.
After the first reading, when it was on the floor for debate. After the debate, he was engaged by members of the press corps, and we asked a lot of salient questions, and we were a bit worried about the survival of it, on the premise that there are some of those bills that are under an exclusive list, and he was able to just stated categorically that such powers for because of the certain amendments of the Constitution the last time in the aspect of power. You know, when the power thing that has to do with power, initially we used to have NEPA, and then at some point there was a need to privatize it, and that gave before then we had a power holding company, from power holding company subsequently to the Port electricity. I think they're controlling some distribution, they're controlling some clusters of states, and that. Then as such, I think according to the deliberation yesterday, it also gives to some extent, like Akwa State as one of the states, you know, they have the power to generate light.
That's true.
Yes. I think they have a distributing license.
They have a source.
Yes. So since they have that power, I think they can also make laws that guide the operation of such. Since the Kwame now can generate light of its own and then distribute, they have that power.
Okay.
They have the right now to make a law that guides the conduct. But then that was why when experts were brought in from various sectors to dissect rather the law to be. Advice were given that all parties should be carried along, so that they don't make the kind of law that at the end of the day it becomes a bottleneck, so to speak.
Okay, let me capture the bill exactly the way it was. A bill for a law to make provision for electricity generation, transmission and distribution within and for the residents of Akwa Ibom State, to establish Akwa Ibom Electricity Regulatory Board and for other matters connected therewith. And you know, we had a lot of people contributions from stakeholders talking about the stories of how power came to stay in Akwa Ibom State and all the challenges, particularly the Ibom Power Company that's spoken the history of power from NEPA to this and to that, the current place it is now. And there are several impediments they had and challenges they have also overcome so far, and the dates they owe many times the outer administration, which we did place the company on Maribon. So let's talk about the provision of electricity generation and transmission. How sure are we that the distribution process of power will be so equitable? Because talking about the power equity, you know, Juliana, power equity is another thing to talk about. Let's talk about that, please.
For instance, one of the young Akwa Ibomites, there's a consultant that came in. She talked about power equity. I recall that very well in her presentation. She said that there shouldn't be issue of a certain
locality getting
more access, like distribution. The distribution process should not be higher. That, for instance, you consider giving higher distribution, higher rates to maybe like Shelter Africa and some of the general areas. Under Band A, Band A, Band B, Band D, and all of that.
So there shouldn't be something
there shouldn't
like
be
that. Just so that cut across.
That if you do like that, now, for instance, they may, these other areas, the general areas here, that you are feeling they may not need power more. That this is even the production areas. These are productive areas. They carry out a lot of productions. The company and some organizations that produces, because we are talking about seeing Akwa Ibom. She was talking about seeing Akwa Ibom beyond the level it is. That Akwa Ibom as a growing state, and then we have some of these SMEs, small medium enterprises organizations. They use the power to succeed. Now, in events where you give them limited power that they cannot, because it is power that is used for production, that they should reconsider making it equal. Because these persons, then let the availability be there. Let it not be that it's not there. Don't not just conclude that they will not be able to afford. That once the power is available, the people will now know if they can afford or not. But first of all, let it be available. I can capture.
You know, before we get to talk on the aims of this the bill, which is regulatory board establishment in Akwa Ibom State, let's address this clause. For this clause, we had energy poverty, because it was one of the item that was mentioned by the engineer Enquiry, the Cambridge researcher. Yes. The energy poverty. Let's get what is that? What does that really imply, please? Energy poverty.
To the best of my understanding, I'm not an engineer.
But you were there. You were there.
I am not. Well, it is one thing. The beauty of journalism is that it allows you, it give you that broad opportunity to delve into all spheres, because you should be able to explain the term
unequivocally.
Yes, unequivocally to the average person, so to speak. Energy poverty simply, has to do with it still has something to do with unequity.
Okay.
Unequity, because how do you define poverty itself? Poverty to speak that a certain group has more, this one has very minor, or does not have at all. So you could also technically bring that in here. So energy poverty simply could mean the unequity of power. That is the power. In this case, where some persons are having challenges not accessing the power, that is accessing the power, while some persons are making good use of it, in having them in abundance. So she was condemning that we should try. She was talking about balancing it and not trying to create that power poverty, so to speak, by through the certain clause. Such clauses should be expunged from the bill that is to become a law. And like I've already said, I think that in my last submission, I think I've already addressed that.
All right, let's talk about the establishment of this electricity
regulatory board.
Personally, I do see situations where government, they come up with established board of this, board. Is this not just another board being established? Because the bottom line, what we as Padmites, we need
how
results.
Effective are they going to be?
We need results.
Yes.
And it's one thing to create a board, and it's another thing to have this board and do it.
Emotional.
So, are we going to see a situation where this electricity board will be able to, bring to the fore our expectations? Will be able to, revolutionize power across the board? You understand? Give us this energy equity that we're looking for, and also other comprehensive approaches to, address the power challenges that we face. Because, really speaking, even here, if it's like this, if power situations are like this in the urban areas,
yes.
Talk about the rural areas. Like my village where I come from, Ibekwe, we don't have lights there. We don't, no matter how you look at it. Yes, there's electricity, there's pole, there's wire, there's everything, but then how many times do we get to have power? Like most times I try to call my mom and I'm unable to reach her. There was no power to, power the phone and all that. So are we likely to see a board that will put paid to this power issue, not just in the urban cities, but in Akwa Ibom as a whole, touching all the rural areas and the ravine areas, the interior, where we can say, yes, even if you go to the village, there is electricity, you can relax. Some of us don't even want to go to the village, to be very honest, because there's no light to power phones.
That's true, that's true.
If you go there, you just visit, and before it's nightfall, you're back to the city. You understand? And even in the city, you're still looking for where to power your gadgets and, one thing. So are we going to see a board that will be up and, functional?
All right, quickly, let me, I like marrying circumstances, try to direct her before I address a certain issue. I will always prefer to marry same with the previous ones. For instance, there may have been doubts in the hearts and mind of the citizen when they need to establish the sanitation. I think quite instead Waste Management and Sanitation Agency. I may not be able to quickly put it the way it is, but we understand the duty. We are narrowing the step now because of the systems of such board. That board was established some years back. And such thoughts, such feelings may have been there in the mind and thoughts of the citizens as to the functionality of it and the effectiveness of such board. And today we have seen the great work that agency have been doing under the leadership of Prince Abanikam. You see that the step on a stretch, think of about 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, have been rated as the cleanest in Nigeria. They have been helping in trying to see to the neatness of the state. Also, that is also one of the agencies that generates revenue for the state. All of that aside, a similar board, when there was a establishment of the Ibom Community Watch when there was establishment of Ibom Community Watch, there was a need for a board, because a board will always be needed to oversee a certain agency. You get my point? Yes. So when the Ibom Community Watch, there was a board, and that's where from there we now have a commissioner. For that. Okay. Yes, we understand power actually is a business of the federal government under in the exclusive list. But recall that the federal government privatized electricity. So now that was why you see we've been the clamor of Akwa Ibom State to be, because we've long had the Ibom power. Ibom power, yes, has been there. So we got our license. Federal government said, okay, you can generate lights and also distribute. So Akwa Ibom State was given the power and the license to generate the electricity. So now, for this to be effectively managed, and mind you, take note that this has been privatized, then there should be a body that manages this to ensure that at the end of the day, the government also, the state are not being cheated, and the citizens also get the value for their money, so to speak, because you pay to get this. I think it will also correct some of the imbroglios, like what is happening. Certain issues having constant rifts between the power holding or Port Harcourt Electricity, as it is called, the power people. We always understand it to be called NEPA, it's very regular in our mind. The constant tussle issues between the users and the owners of this power. So the essence of this is to give it a legal framework. So I trust that this will be able to, and that was the reason why most experts said the state government should not just do it alone. When they say not do it alone, is to carry all sectors along, including the private sectors, and then the federal government and the rest. Because from to the little or based on my knowledge, I understand, unlike other businesses you do, there are times you could have a challenge. Maybe recall what happened recently. I think it was quoted yesterday, when we have a snap along the cable that connects us through the Abia States, where it led to a power outage for, I think we were in a blackout for about 2 weeks or so. So under such situation, one thing or the other could happen. So how do you succeed if you now collaborate with others?
Personally, I can't see power to be one man's need, because talking about privatization is as if it is, this is more than just the power for an individual, like they say meter. Away from that, so we are talking about the intentionality of this board. How intentional are they to affect the expectations of these particular bills? Because the bills already, they say it seeks to accelerate growth and to grow business development in the state, generation capacity, and improve utilization of generated power through increased investment. And also it seeks, according to the speaker on Monday, which you emphasize on what that really means, back to what Juliana said, that power electricity is a social economic game changer and a key to urbanization, as it can turn villages into cities and micro industrial hubs. It is not a private man's need.
To add to that, you know, there's a reason why I brought that question.
Very important.
Because I'd said something about boards, creation of boards.
Yes.
I'm not against creation of boards. Actually, it tends to make the job easier, or kind of simplify the job for the government, make it easier. You understand? The government
given standard
to reach out to the people and do what is expected. But at the same time, you mentioned Ibom
Power
Community,
Community Watch.
Yes, and you said that a board was being created for that. Personally, I think the inauguration of that was just Uyo. Other local government areas are yet to be touched, as we speak, yet to be inaugurated. Ever since that thing came up, the uniforms and everything, the inauguration was just in Uyo. So are we not going to see a situation whereby this board comes up and
how intentional
the state capital, other people in the rural areas, are they going to benefit from this? That's the question we're asking.
What's the plan?
Do you see this happening, reaching out to the
Are we from just writing and telling people,
and all those places?
I am the one that says something. I'm the one that deliberately made a point.
Okay.
I made a point earlier, if you had listened to me.
Okay.
It's not all about, you should even ask yourself, are the local communities willing and ready to take their responsibility? If you observe what I have been, let me stay on this a little. I am very much familiar with the challenges some of these communities they have. Do you know that some of these communities, members of these rural communities, take it that the power, the light, is kind of supposed to be free. In events where some of these local community, they are either transformer or their transformer have cable issues, they can't afford it. They will always they hope that it is the duty of government to give them transformer, but they've quickly forgot that governments are no longer the one owning power. I don't know whether you get my point here. Yes, like because we talk about the issue of privatization here. Okay. It has been privatized. Privatized, you should understand what it means, privatize. Public-private partnership is no longer run completely by government. Government only supervise what goes on. Okay, now in such events, some of these community members, where they usually lack the ability now to pay for this service. Like I said, when in the law it states some of these areas, because I think the discretion, they were trying to use the discretion that this area access may not be able to afford. So the accessibility of this power to these areas should be curtailed, while at a certain area. Now, when this when this expert came, she said no, through it's open and let it become everybody's business. Who can afford will afford. And back home and here
at a moderate price.
At a moderate. Well, yes, at a moderate price. Yes. You are still trying. I know where you are trying to push. I know where you are trying to push me.
According to the analyst,
I know where you are trying to push me.
I am going to.
No, I know where you are trying to
stand my ground. According to the analyst, Ekemini, she said that people that are not using this power are able to afford it. Meanwhile, those who need it can't afford it. So that's why I said at a moderate price.
Okay, it still boils down back to the owner of the owner of something, the person that sells something, decide on what price he wants to sell these things.
And the government should also consider the citizens too.
It's not the government, like I said, it's not completely owned by you. No, okay, let me now bring in the point you wanted to hear.
Right.
The point you wanted to hear is the part where government now subsidizes. Government subsidizes this for the citizens to be able to use it. And here we are struggling with the issue of subsidy removal. Please, let's not go there for now. All right.
Alright, you are just joining us. You're listening to the Assembly on Memories 106.5 FM. We're talking about the Electricity Regulatory Board, which the House of Assembly did a public hearing on Monday to create a board for us to have a better power distribution generation cell, because most of the stakeholders talk about cells, and to regenerate profitability, it's necessary. So if you have your contribution to give for the program, the phone lines are open now. 0803 085 7755, 0803 085 7755, or
alright, you can still send us a WhatsApp message on 0809 066 6909, 0809 066 6909. Yes, we're still talking about matters arising from the plenary that took place. And let's look at
okay. Let's get to today's program, a plenary, because about three we received motions on urgent public importance, and which one of the very high-ranking member of the State Assembly, that's Right Honorable Chief, according to his titling, Effiong Johnson, he moved a motion that the House should someone should look into the dilapidated state of General Hospital, now local government area. So let's get to talk about that. Okay, let's get to hear from the Chief Whip.
Go ahead. Mr. Speaker, 2 nights ago, my brother Moses brought a motion on equipment for CTC to be handled, to be kept, government should buy, which was approved by this House. Mr. Speaker, health is only God that keeps all of us. I was referring to that hospital. I was there yesterday. On entering the hospital, I got annoyed with myself why I should even get to that hospital. But when I walked into the hospital, Mr. Speaker, the equipment in that hospital, I don't think any other hospital in this state has it. But the environment of that hospital, it meant taking you there, you are sick, you will fall sick more. Solutions have been given to chief medical officers of the hospital. The weed is after my waist. You see styrofoam bags everywhere in the whole hospital from the gate. The hospital is dirty, but the staffs, very prompt staff, they are working. But the chief medical officer till 10 o'clock was not there. I was there before 8:30. I left there 5 a.m. I didn't see him. He should be called. The chairman of House Committee should be called. There are a lot of persons that went to Ibom Teaching Hospital. They were all referred there that came to do CTC scan. And that is the only place you have that scan in the whole of Akwa Ibom.
That's the voice of Chief Whip of the Akwa Ibom House Assembly, Right Honorable Chief Effiong Johnson, member representing Mbo State Constituency. He's a ranking member. So he did raise a motion today that of urgent public importance about the dilapidated state of the General Hospital, national government area. Of course, it's surprising that Okay, we are coming in, but please call back. It's quite surprising that people who are saddled with the responsibilities of medical responsibilities could show such lackadaisical attitude to work. You know what I'm talking about? So let's get to hear from you, Jerome, what to talk about on the bill, because your reaction on the bill. What's your input
on the motion?
On the motion, yes, sorry.
Well, it's just so unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate. You know, I have always told people, when you keep on preaching change begins with me and you. And they change the little in the confines, that the little confine you find yourself, where you are just alone within you. What have you thought? Have you are you using your conscience to do something? It's not enough to blame just the leaders in power that they are not doing well. What are you using the position you are given to? How are you using it? How are you maximizing what has been given to you? That's really bad. That the chief, this happens. I've had situations. I've also witnessed situations where even the nurse in the hospital are very mean and rude. I was taught, while growing up, I was taught that nurses and the medical personnel are very nice, friendly people. You know,
are they not nice?
Friendly in a sense, by how they talk to the patients, by how they treat the patient,
okay.
They receive the patient. It will make the patient even feel healed.
Now, away from that, the motion's talking about the.
I was actually coming there.
Because of time.
I'm actually coming there. Now, in the event whereby the chief medical superintendent was absent at his point of duty, that's very bad. And the environment, they say subventions have been given for that purposes, to keep the environment neat, but that has not been taken care of. That's really bad. No wonder the House has summoned the persons involved to appear before the House and then answer questions for themselves. I think that they use that to set precedent for others who don't want to take their official and public duties seriously.
You know, this is not just about the General Hospital or Awa. On under government area, it also concerns other medical facilities across the state.
Like I said, that was the reason I said that is common to see even in the hospitals. A patient moves into a hospital. Let me quickly share this with you, please. Sorry, I remember some years. I was very minor in my JS2. I went for I went for an holiday for my uncle. Along the way, I had an accident. The bike I climbed to take me to my place, I then collided with a vehicle, and I felt I had very serious wound. Till now, I still have that mark on my leg though. All right, I was one of the bike person. They rushed me to a clinic. Coincidentally, the clinic was very close to my place.
Okay.
I was taken to that clinic. I was there. Right from where I was there, the nurses were there. It was a private clinic though.
Okay.
The nurses were there. Nothing was done to me. I was even within myself, and I was in pains. I stayed there for almost an hour until the doctor came. Nobody attended to me to receive my report and what I feel like, get some information from me. It was until the doctor came. I felt so good. When the doctor arrived, he was very angry. He was furious with the nurses. He said, a patient on emergency arrived this place. None of you did anything. And it was under operation because I was put in the theater. They have to stitch this thing. The doctor even had to drive these persons away. Say they should. He was very furious with them, that he was disappointed in them. Okay, just that. Imagine a situation like that. Nurses behaving that way across board. So these are the situations you're having. People are not taking their jobs seriously.
That being said, do you buy into what the member presenting the Sudubium, is it Right Honorable Otto Bongbo, said, when he expressed disappointment regarding the inadequate management of essential facilities in the state and, the actions of, staff, when he said, and I quote, there are people willing to put their lives on the line. So if those given responsibilities are not productive, then they should shift to make way for those who are ready. Do you buy into
I
this?
buy it with my full chest.
Okay, why? Go
I
ahead.
buy
Let's
it with
make-
my full chest.
tell
There
us.
are people very much willing, eager. You know, I don't know one thing about humans. Some of this, some of us, is this: when we have these things either on a platter of gold, or you know, we are fortunate to get this favor, we don't cherish it. But there are others who are very much willing. See, I'm not saying that it's not everyone that are that way. Like I said, like, put me, please get me right. I didn't say that all the nurses are bad. I said some of them. Some. There are good nurses, there are good doctors. There are those ones too that will not treat, that are not taking their responsibilities seriously. So maybe, I don't know whether somebody.
Don't you think some kind of form of penalty should be
Should
placed
be,
instead of
yes.
just putting them away like said?
No. The deputy house leader, he was not immediately said. He said if they are not willing to, he was telling them they can excuse themselves. He didn't say that the government will remove them.
They should go and
If they
resign.
are not willing.
If they are not willing,
They should be
that you can, like,
They are
for
not
instance, if you don't want to do this work again, if you are tired,
Yeah.
you can leave for others who are willing to do it, take over the job. I think that's what he meant. That's my understanding of what he said.
All right.
But at the same time, there's this, you know, sometimes when people come into a system, they tend to inherit something, you understand? So personally, I'm thinking it wouldn't even be better to place some penalties, like kind of modalities to, you know, stem the tide of this lackadaisical behavior. Because sometimes you might think, okay, let me shift this one and bring in someone that is better, and that person even comes in and does even worse. You understand?
Well, all the same. Even the point to, yes, penalties should also be stated, and that is the reason the house is inviting them. Yes, they are appearing before the house to answer to the query. This is a query from the top government officials. If it has gotten to this level, you never can tell how far. Okay, quickly, please, sorry, let me bring this in. It has happened in the history of this country. A governor of a state went to a private hospital, private clinic, unannounced. He took the child. He went with the child. I can't recall whether it was a male or female child, but he went with the child. It was a minor something, just needed. He said, let him go. On his own, he drove that child to that clinic on a late hour. You know, doctors have their period of duration of duties. On getting there, the doctors refused to attend to him. He did not know that was the governor, because he went alone on his own. People can disguise themselves and go like that just to know what is really happening. I never can tell that governor has been getting information. On getting there, the man was mean, he was rude. Okay, think first and foremost, he was not present. He had to call him. Okay, he was not present. The governor had to call. And now when they now call, he said, they called him, refused to shoot. The governor called and said that he's here. He said, and so does what, that he is resting. He cannot. The governor said, if he knows the person talking to him, he said, that was how the governor dropped a message, a note, his card. He said he should meet him when he's back. And that was how he lost his job.
You know, if I allow you to dwell on this matter, it will take a long time.
Okay.
For want of time, we have one more matter to talk about. There's another matter of
public importance, and that is that of the
gas station.
yes, proliferation of illegal unlicensed gas stations. There's moved by a prayer that was put forward by Mrs. Precious Salon, I think, member representing
Oroko.
So what's your take on this? She talked about the looming danger of proliferation of liquefied natural gas, okay, so in residential areas.
I have as well been so worried about these very matters. In situation you step out, you see almost all shops are owning gas centers, are selling.
All shops or streets?
All shops, almost all the streets, in the streets.
Streets.
In every street, you see,
You have
after
like
one
2,
shop,
4,
you have
5.
another. Now people are living around. Please let me bring your mind back to what happened recently in this one of the communities here. There was a rancor that ensued between members of the PHED and the community, where the PHED members usually go around with civil defense, the members Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. they wanted to disconnect the light, and this happened during that period. There was no light in the community, and they went to disconnect. After disconnecting, they wanted to go with the cables, and the owner said, "No, you can't go with the cable. Just let us keep our cable." Dragging ensued along the line, issues and all of that. And the civil defense person, the first thing she did, it was the female. She used the gun, points at the feet of the one of the person who was struggling, and shot at him. And eventually, argument ensued, and along the way, she opened fire sporadically, and the fire punctured one of the gas cylinder. God so blessed. No, it's the gas cylinder that actually led me to bring this. That led my takes my mind back to that incident. So now God so blessed. Just assume there was gas. The liquid, the item was inside the cylinder. Please, what do you think would have happened? Would that not have been an explosion? Incidents like that happened. All right. We've heard about a situation where gas explosion engulfed happened in this state, leading to many persons losing their lives. The government has stated it as well. It has defined how long the distance of gas station to residential areas or schools and what have you. 100 meters away from these vulnerable centers.
Okay.
But a situation where you have gas station right close to people are living, sometimes schools, sometimes hospitals, sometimes churches, where you have people in their numbers in this place. Just imagine it. Just imagine a explosion takes place. What will happen? You see that casualties, a good number of casualties will be counted. I think the mover of this motion, the sponsor of this motion, is such an insightful one. These are the things. This is the kind of house that looks into matters that concerns the public. And I commend Honorable Mrs. Precious Ceylon for moving this motion. It was one of the most beautiful motions so far. Very interesting, so apt. Now, good enough that the House have directed the House Committee on Petroleum to get into it and liaise with
so
the...
what was her prayer? What exactly was her prayer?
Her prayers was that they should...
The House Committee on
Petroleum. The House Committee on Petroleum should liaise with relevant agency and then see what they can do in order to control this. Now, to observe some of these persons, because some of these persons operating these stations, they are illegal stations. They don't have approval to operate. Like one of the members said,
when you say approval, like license?
License, yes, that's the license to operate. It's not anybody. You cannot just wake up and start selling gas. I don't know where I get my point. You should not. There are some businesses somebody should not just delve into. You don't just wake up.
What about the case whereby like some filling stations that do dispense gas and all that, but you still have people doing business close to such filling stations?
This is the same thing. It's still the thing. It's among the items that were discussed in the debate. While this matter was debated in the House, all of this was discussed. That the positioning of this organization, business of this nature, should be excluded from such premises, residential areas, and other this thing. And that's why they say they should check if this person is operating this place. Were given the license, on what premise are they operating? Are they operating? Is it a legal operation or illegal? So I think that is the decision.
Oh yes, if you are just joining us, the time is fast spent and we're still wanting time.
And you know what, this gas issue, I think we'll do a follow up on it to know how it
yeah, of course, it's a very broad.
Because I remember the other time someone was talking about the proliferation of the POS, operators almost on every nook and cranny and all that. And
everywhere.
Up until today, we still have the things still multiplying by day, even in your
house. And even these mini gas,
So even this gas issue we're talking about, you can have your neighbor, your next door neighbor dispensing
And
gas.
mind you, see, let me say this personally. Do you know I don't fuel my gas. I deliberately don't fuel my gas from these vendors.
Okay.
I prefer going to the gas station to
Okay.
fuel.
And I think that
There's a way to discourage that.
Another thing that do you think is going to be really possible?
I think if people were to understand
but
this,
one thing I really want to talk about is, those that are dispensing this, those that are being, employed. Like, so maybe someone has a gas outlet and employs someone. Do they really know how to go about, doing this thing? Because even me, when I go to my gas, I'm like, God, I beg you, because it's a high risk.
Okay, yes, even those that are being employed,
guidelines that must be adhered to. And these guys, like,
really, are they adhering to them?
And you look at the age of these people that are doing this, that like small boys and girls that just finished from secondary school that know little about these things. And know it's okay, I'm gas now, we'll put it on the scale, it's so and so.
Major.
If, God forbid, fire breaks out or something happens, what do you do? So, well, we'll talk about this some other day.
Of course, the next week. And of course, the Pragmatic Assembly, the 8th Aquarium State Assembly has moved motions today, and of them public importance that this one was Miss Matter was really related to gas sellers or gas stations because some of the gas stations are operating at the wrong places. 12 stations from a residence area should be a minimum of 30 meters away, and those close to vulnerable centers like schools, hospitals, markets should be not less than 100 meters away. So please, if you are a gas seller, if you are a retailer of gas products and all that, make sure that you have license, because of course the 8th Assembly is going to move bit by bit to every station to check how they operate, and of course they'll regulate.
Alright, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of the program The Assembly, of bridging the gap between you and your representative, and of course, as Julius would say, the corridor of power. Alright.
Are you sure that's really the corridor of power?
According to Julius.
The corridor of power.
I have my own. I say it's rather a bridge, you understand? Alright, so this is where we draw the curtains. Thank you so much, Mr. Endurance Bassey. It was so great, hearing from you, analyzing and giving an exposure and all those things. We look forward to having the next edition.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege.
And of course, my co-striker, Julius Sikak. Ever smiling.
Of course, I have to smile. Of course.
Alright, and my name is Juliana EKPA. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Do keep the dial on 96.5 FM and keep listening to programs from Memories 96.5.
Go nowhere.
Till next Wednesday, when we make a return by 7 p.m.
to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
God bless you.